Woo, the wind is getting bad. Woof. Anyway, welcome back, friends. So in a previous video, we were working on creating a radio mount for my Baofeng UV5R. And we were doing this because really anything I found on the market just didn't like. Either most of them were plastic or really cheap plastic, actually. And all the reviews on the ones that I looked at said they broke. There was one that I found, but it required like their special mount. And I don't want to do that. I want to go with RAM mounts. So we're building our own. We didn't finish up in the last video though, because the batteries on my welding helmet were dead, and so couldn't weld it together and all that stuff. But anyway, if you haven't seen it before, here is the mount. It's a very simple design, I think. While the batteries were on their way to me, I went ahead and just kind of radiused some of the corners because I thought getting rid of the sharp corners would be a good idea. And then I also deburred the whole thing. Also, while we were waiting for the batteries and I was deburring the whole thing and cleaning up some of my awful grinds, the RAM mount came in. So we'll be able to mount that to this tonight too once we get it welded. So with that, let's start welding. These batteries are a little hard to get a hold of where I live. They're a 2450 cell. They're not usually everywhere, I'll tell you that. Come to think of it though, this is the first time that I've had to actually replace these batteries in this helmet. And I've had it for a number of years. Cool. So we are on. Let's get this back together. Man, I have not welded in such a long time. I'm actually a little nervous. I just don't want to ruin my little project here. It's just been so long. I don't even know how steady my hands are going to be. I think what we'll do is I think real quick I'll pause, get a few scraps that I had, and just practice real quick on some scraps to make sure my settings are correct. All right, I think we're all set up. I did a quick little practice weld. I think I have the right settings now. I just can't believe how unbelievably rusty I am. So I think I'm just going to start out by doing a series of tacks. I don't really think it's going to need too much, to be honest, to hold this together. It's just a little radio. So let's go. All right, it is welded for the most part. It does not look very good. So I am going to take it over to a grinder real quick and clean some of it up. It's basically a series of spot welds that's holding it together, but that'll be plenty strong for it to hold a radio. Here we are. Here is our little mount after it's all cleaned up and everything. I think it looks pretty nice. You know, I'm still getting used to the welder and everything, being just back into this. It's been a few years since I welded, but I think our little mount turned out pretty good. More importantly though, we have to check how does it work. So if we take our radio and just clip it in like that, we can see holds pretty sturdy. Can rock it all around. I think it's going to be a great little mount, and it's long enough that you could put a battery, an extended battery on this thing if you wanted to. The mount's still going to hold. So no rattles, no shakes. I think it's going to work pretty good. Now, the next part of this is the RAM mount. So I have two pieces here. This one is the single socket arm with swivel plate is what they call it. And essentially, let's just break into it and open it up so I can show you. Essentially, I got this one because of the size. A Jeep's dash is very small and you don't have a whole lot of windshield space, I should say. So I wanted something that was low profile and small, and I think this fits. So this is supposed to undo and go around like this. Let's see. Oh man, I'm losing pieces everywhere. Yep, go around like that. Okay. Then that one in here somewhere, I think there, and then this. Okay. So that's pretty nice. That's a very low profile mount compared to some of their other stuff. And then you can swivel too, which is kind of nice. It's got some ridges in there. So I wanted, again, something small because that's going to go on the dash. And then this piece, it's just a ball. Now I did mess up on this one a little bit, I can tell you right now, just by looking at it. And here's the problem. RAM mounts makes two of these. This one is the round plate, And they make a diamond. And I should have sprung for the diamond only because this is it's a little chunky. Yeah, go like that. It's a little chunky for what we need just because of these edges. But nonetheless, it still works. And so maybe I'll go for a diamond and just hold this for something else. The nice thing is, though, if we pop this in here and go like this, tighten it all down, we now have a very compact, very small little ram mount that'll sit on the dash, and our radio will sit right like this. Really, really nice. I'm going to use double-sided sticky tape, I think, to mount this to the dash, and we'll have a very handsome, very sweet little radio mount that'll just hold everything like that. Oops. That'll just hold everything like that. I think that's absolutely fantastic. I really do. So let's mark some holes, punch some holes in it, and see how it looks complete. I don't think I'm going to put any paint on it yet. We're just going to knock some holes in it. Ooh, I got to find some screws too. I don't think it came with any. Well, that's okay. I'll figure something out. All right. I keep all these little various machine screws and everything around just for this purpose. And I think, honestly, I think we're only going to need 3. I think those are going to be the 3 that we need. Let's see. We're going to go through this top one. And yeah, that'll be long enough. It's a little short, but it's definitely long enough to get a bolt on the end, or nut on the end, I mean. And then, we'll put a little Loctite and everything on it. But yeah, so those 3. Now I just got to find 3 nuts that fit those, and I'll punch some holes through it, and then we'll put it together. What do you think the chances are of finding the correct nut I need in that pile? I might be here for a while. Oh, look at that. 1. Now 2 more to go. It seems like I can never get 3 holes to line up. 2 holes, just fine. 3 holes, not gonna happen. I think next time, if I build another one of these, just to clean it up a little bit, if I build another one of these, I'll probably do 2 holes and then use the plate as a guide for the 3rd one. So, how are we going to get this in here, though? I'm thinking if we, let's see, I'm thinking if we do something like this. It's maybe a little harder than I thought. I don't think that I thought of this. There we go, capture it like that. Then I think we can do that one hole that we drilled. Maybe we'll do these bottom 2 first because they're right on the corner, so it might be a little easier to get started. Then I don't have to hold so many things at one time. Come on. Oh no, it was right there. The chin hold isn't working. I might just weld these in place when I get them in here, which would be a much, much smarter idea. All right, nobody move, nobody breathe, except me, of course. Did I get it? No, I don't think I got it. Got it. The chin trick worked. Comrades, we have a fatal flaw here. That nut that's in there on this top piece blocks our hook. Though, there's enough room. If I put one here and one here, then I'm going to have to have it in the middle. All right, I think I finally got this thing figured out. We'll just walk over it real quick, and then we'll put it all together. And I did make a pretty big mistake, but I fixed it. So the bottom 2 nuts, we were able to get in there and tighten up. And what I did is I just tightened them up, and then I tack welded them in place because I could get the welder in here. Not too hard. Came out pretty good. These 2, however, were quite a bit more difficult. What I ended up doing is using a bigger drill bit and drilling a bigger hole here so I could get some alignment going on. And then what I did is I screwed the screws into the nuts, and then I was able to fish my welder through this little hole and tack weld those nuts. And it was quite hard because that's a little tiny hole to be able to tack through here. The mistake I made is actually right here. What I thought I could do is just drill a hole all the way through and then weld them from the inside, or weld them from this side. And that did not work. When I punched the pilot hole through, I realized I was too close, so I just filled the hole and then ground it smooth so that that looks okay. But now we can finally proceed with assembling all of this. And again, this is a prototype, so you know, things aren't going to be perfect, but hey, at least it gets us on the right track. It gets me the mount I want, and then we can come back and revisit it and build something even nicer after I figure out, is this the route I really want to go? Because even though this might seem like a really good idea now, you never know. It's very, very possible that down the road I absolutely hate it. Now, I'm going to do the important test. Does the radio still fit in there with all that weld in there? I don't know. I'm a little concerned about it. Oh, darn. Let's see. It is not. Oh, actually, you know what? We might be lucky here. Where's my little file? All right, we're back. So, some mistakes were made, some lessons were learned. Essentially, I had too much weld in here, so I had to hand file it out. And my arms are, they're pretty shot after that. I just put way too much weld in there. But now, we can take our radio, and it clips in there just like that. Super nice. So all is not lost. If I did it again, I would probably make this mount just a little deeper, that I wouldn't have to do that, and I'd also weld the nuts in first, assuming that I had this ram mount to go off as a pattern beforehand, which I did not. So anyway, okay, let's assemble the whole thing and finally take a look at how it's going to look when we get it in the Jeep. And then this will just pop on here like that. Perfect. Look at that. I think that's a really slick little system. And yeah, this mount, you know, it's got a few little issues, but it's pretty strong. It's a prototype, and I can always make it a little bit better. For the most part, though, what I wanted on and off works really well, and it's going to hold the radio perfectly in place. All right, so there you have it. There's the Baofeng UV5R mount. And honestly, I think it turned out really good. For, you know, someone who hasn't welded in 2 to 3 years or really built anything, that's pretty slick. I like it. I can't wait to get it in the Jeep and see what happens, but it does everything I need it to. The radio fits in there really easily like that. I think it's going to hold it pretty secure. It needs a little paint, a little adjusting here and there. Probably some foam padding around it or something like that just to kind of clean it up and protect the radio a little bit. Wouldn't be bad, but it's definitely not breaking. It's definitely not going anywhere. It's definitely going to hold the radio in going down the road, which is what I wanted. Anyway, I'm getting pretty exhausted. We built a whole set of railroad tie stairs today. And I'll tell you what, that is really rough. Railroad ties are really heavy, and they just suck to move and they suck to deal with. So anyway, guys, I think that's it for me. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next video.